Like you said, what the thing about the rules? Rules
Rules
for
for
thee and
thee, but not
me?
for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's full fucking hip is what she is.
Yeah, that's it.
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Your riled up co-host. Hello, I am Ramona Ramirez.
You are on one tonight.
On one, man. I'm
one.
on one. And its first name begins with health and the last name begins with insurance. And I was just on a rant with my husband about it before I came downstairs to record with you. And I'm a little ornery still.
I think it's relatable. Certainly relatable.
I will, I look forward to how can I say, expressing my orneriness. I'll take it out on Kyle. Won't be hard.
She makes it real easy.
She
this
does.
Week. She really gave just every opportunity to hate her. Every time she was on screen, I was like, "Oh, you're worse than you were 5 minutes ago. Oh, you're worse than you were then." Oh my God!
She just rolled down the hill, full of crap, and by the time she was done, she was just coated in dog shit from head to toe.
And weirdly, her attitude was like expecting sympathy from us. You know. All of that, like Dorit had to pull something out of her hat. She got what she wanted. She orchestrated it perfectly. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're so dumb. You're playing us so dumb. This is dumb. Dumb.
It's worked for her, and now she's finally like, uh-oh, it's not going to work anymore.
Everyone's onto it now. Like before, there were only a couple people who would call her out on it, and now the whole cast is like, dude.
I know.
Come on.
I know.
Except Erika, who's insane. Until
Erika's
Dorit fucking...
I don't even think that she's insane. I think that she is like, I have to stick up for her because she stuck up for me. She's kind of like, I can't make judgments on anyone. I don't know. You know, Erika, I don't know. I mean, I love the way the episode ended. I'll tell you that. The very last two lines were fucking Shakespearean. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. The impact of Shakespeare, yes.
I mean, Dorit is really, I am so impressed with her. Like every word out of her mouth is so thoughtful and right on. And she's so good at listening and walking away when there could be confrontation. Like I'm so impressed with how she handled this episode because I was losing my mind on my couch and I have no investment, no personal investment in any of this. I cannot imagine if my best friend was justifying texting my ex-husband or my newly separated partner, who is being a dick to me. He's not talking to me. He's not helping with the kids. He's being actively awful to me. And you're like, shrug, ho-hum. We've been friends for 10 years, but like, it's different now.
And according to your Amazon Live, though, that's like checks watch, just a few months old, Dorit and I really weren't that close. And then to Bo's last week, well, her idea of close and my idea of close might be different. But PK and I were like brother and sister. Are you? What?
It just,
what?
She assumes that before we see her each time that we all just wipe the slate clean as if we've never known anything of her or seen any of her behavior or actions in the past. And that we're willing to just come in and be like, whatever you say is the truth. And it's just like, it's so false and so, I don't know why she's digging in this hard and something so where she could just say, I'm sorry, that was out of line. Because it is complicated. Like, it is complicated when you care about both parties who are splitting. But you can just say that. It was complicated. My feelings got, whatever. I was confused and I reached out and I really understand now how that was so out of line and I understand why you're hurt and I'll wait for you to come around. Just know that I'm sorry. But instead, she's like, nuh-uh. You never had a problem with it before. Well, it was just memes and jokes and 1,000 texts about it. It just is like, what? Just stop. Stop it. Stop lying.
I had to remind myself, like, I mean, Kyle has bothered me a lot over the years, and it's definitely gotten worse as her own coping mechanisms are reaching their expiration date. At least in my opinion, they are. I don't know how long she's going to go. I don't know how long Ms. Richards is going to be able to like hang with her bullshit. I personally see people heading for Z Hills from their friendships with her, honestly. My point is that like I was thinking as I was watching the episode, I had to remind myself like this woman considers Faye Resnick to be one of her best friends. Oh, we talked about this last week, didn't we? Yeah. Faye Resnick is one of her best friends. And PK is like her brother. PK, who reps his one client, is a man that on a drug-fueled rage chained up another person to a radiator. PK is one of her best friends, her like a brother who owes millions and millions of dollars to casinos. These are like the things that we know about. Like, what are you saying, Kyle?
I think Dorit nailed it at the end of the episode where she's like, Kyle isn't honest with herself or anyone else. She just doesn't know how to be honest. I don't think she really thinks she and PK are like brother and sister. I don't think she thinks anything through. She says what will serve her best in any given moment and then tries to do damage control after poorly. And that's where we're at. And she has lost all of her allies. Like in her conversation with Kathy, she's sort of dismissed by Kathy, and I don't blame her. Mauricio, again, I called bullshit on last week when she said I called Mo and he said this is stupid. We have a whole scene with Mauricio the day after this dramatic fight, and he doesn't say anything supportive of his wife on camera. I don't think he's supportive of his wife, if she told him at all. So,
no.
You know,
Yeah.
I think everyone, like you said, is running for the hills, and I don't know what that reckoning is going to look like for Kyle, but all of her kids are leaving. Mo's going to move on. Kathy loses her phone in foreign countries at all times. Like she's really on an island, and she did it to herself, and she will have a lot of humbling work ahead of her if she wants a different outcome. But I don't know if she does. Like you said, she's got enough money to just keep buying new friends, get a new young country star to hang out with every 4 to 6 years. Excuse me. Kesha.
God, Kesha, please be careful.
I think Kesha, that was a one and done. I think she was like, this was
please
weird.
Be careful.
Bye.
Yeah. I'm here for it. I'm here to see the reckoning of Kyle Richards. I really am. I don't know if Kyle's there to see it. I started wondering if she is of the constitutionally incapable. Oh my God, I just forgot the rest of it, and I used to love this.
Being honest with themselves.
Yes. Is she constitutionally incapable of being honest with herself and other people?
I think it's on the table. It's certainly entered the chat.
I never thought she was this bad before, but man, she's horrifying.
When confronted, she runs away in a victim mode, crying. And how can this be? What do you mean, how can it be? Take a breath and think about how this can be. You can still leave, but don't leave crying like everyone's against you. You showed your text to everyone except the 2 people who you knew would have a direct problem with you and it.
Yeah.
That's how can this be?
Regressing into that like child coded like mannerisms and behavior and like, well, I don't know if you saw any tears. I didn't see one fucking tear. I heard the like, I didn't see a tear. I never saw one authentic tear. Not one.
Yeah.
Not one. I don't buy it. She sucks.
Yeah, I think there was like one moment, and I made note of it because it stood out, because it was like there was like one authentic moment from her, and everything else felt like a performance, a bad one.
Bad.
Yeah.
This is season 14, episode 8 of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It's called A Perfect Storm Out. Her storm out sucked too. She wasn't storming nowhere. She wanted people to chase after her. Of
course, because she stayed 10 different times. She's like, I'm going to say one thing and then I'm leaving. And then she said her one thing and she was like, and that's why I'm not going to, as she walked off weeping and muttering. And then everyone congregated at the door and she still stood there and shamed them. And then she went and sat with Dorit and talked. And then she went back in the house. I was like, Kyle, if you're going to storm out, like you got to follow through with the out part.
My God.
You were just stomping around having a tantrum.
If anyone is out there having a bad day, a bad night, a bad whenever you're listening to this, just remember you're not Kyle Richards. You're not Kyle Richards.
All is well.
Yeah, you're winning.
Oh my God. Well, we start at this Sisterhood Serenity in preparation for Bose's Sisterhood Serenity Soirée. And sweet Nico comes to Bose and asks her how he might present the robe and slippers. And they have this like adorable 3-second, very respectful, lovely exchange. And he leaves excited to do the task at hand. He came in with a way that he would propose doing it. Bose said, no, let's do this. And he said, that's great. It was so like, I haven't had a healthy like boss employee relationship in quite some time. And to see this like modeled on TV is so lovely, where both people feel great at the end of the interaction and everyone is, because there are people who will yell at you about how to put robes and slippers together.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, aware. Yes.
And sweet Nico, I don't know what this episode, all I wanted to do was just like talk to Nico. I just love him. He's such a gentle presence and I just really appreciate him.
I do
house.
too.
That's how we start. And then Bose says she's hosting this event inspired by Sutton's good idea that she didn't quite know how to execute, which is a situation she faced in corporate boardrooms quite often. So Bose is coming in to, quote, fix this mess. She FaceTimes, she and Dorit are both getting glam done. She FaceTimes Dorit. And Bose tells Dorit that Garcelle revealed that there was more to the texting between Kyle and PK than just jokes and memes. And Dorit is flabbergasted because she had just spoken with Erika, who downplayed any weirdness in this situation whatsoever.
God, dude.
And sweet Dorit told Erika that she didn't think anything malicious would be going on, but Kyle's reaction to being questioned about it made her think twice. And this whole episode is Kyle's reaction. Like, this is insane. The degree to which Kyle plays this out does indicate that she full well knows that she has done something egregious that she would have a huge problem with if anyone did it to her. But, Dorit wants to believe the best of Kyle, but Kyle is making it hard for all of us.
And Bose asks Dorit, listen, why not read the text to everyone, especially Dorit, if she's reading it to other people? And she theorizes that, if it was convenient for Kyle to read the text when me and Dorit weren't there to hear it, sure was. Feature not a bug, by design. Yes.
Yeah, she chose a real friendly audience, which some would call manipulation.
100.
Because she's like, you know what? I will do this on screen, but only with people who are going to say like, you're okay. However, she got that wrong. She misread the house. Because they all gasped when she said, and she reads this text like 100 times through this episode. And I swear to God, each time it got more offensive and terrible. I was like, this is worse. Every time you read, I'm here for you. I will never reveal what we talked about in confidence. It's like, how did you think anyone wouldn't like clutch their pearls and go like, what?
Yeah.
Because you had said, you've been saying for weeks, it's jokes and memes, jokes and memes. And all of that language is deep. Ugh, I don't need to tell you that or anyone else. We all see it. It's so flagrant.
So then we get to the next scene, which is Kyle FaceTimes Kathy. And besides the fact that Kathy's face is barely in the frame.
A lot of blue sky, a lot of blue Italian sky.
So Kyle starts to tell her sister about she and Dorit got in the biggest fight. And I want to say that Kyle is not calling Kathy because she wants to call Kathy. Kathy is probably on a normal day her 5th, 6th, 7th person in line that she's going to want to call. Even though they're sisters, we all know that they've had a history. We all know that their relationship is fraught. Kyle is not telling Kathy this because she wants support from Kathy. It's that Kyle is doing what she feels the fear inside of her is telling her to do. She's got to rally up some support and rally up some troops and rally up some backup because she knows that she's wrong and she knows that the murderous crowd, what is it when people raise the pitchforks and come for you? Whatever. She knows that she's going to be chased with some rightly earned pitchforks, metaphorically speaking, toot sweet. So she full hips and says, well, you know how PK and I are like brother and sister. And so, blah, blah, blah. And again, I already said this. This doesn't make any sense compared to the Amazon Live where she says that they're not close. You can't have it both ways, Kyle. And
Well, and the blah, blah, blah of that was her saying PK and I were like brother and sister. And all of a sudden,
all of a sudden,
out of nowhere, she decides that bothers her. All of a sudden was the day they got separated. What do you mean? What is confusing about that? Nothing is the same anymore. So you don't get to just go like, I'm shocked. I can't imagine what brought this on. Like, you're the only one, Kyle. She's trash.
Utterly.
And just unskilled at gaslighting. Like, this is just so, it just belittles everyone involved.
Conveniently, she's not, at least not that we can see, she's not including any of the, pertinent parts of the situation.
Well,
she's cherry picking what to share with Kathy and whatnot.
And she's lying. Yeah. She said, and now, she's made me into like an investigator, because she said that Dorit decided to make it weird. Dorit decided that to make it weird about PK sending me memes on Instagram. It's not memes. We've seen the text messages, and it's not Instagram. That's a personal text exchange. So all of this is, everything you're saying is like, it's that the worst one. I hate all lying, but this is one of the worst kinds where it just edges the truth. So like, you could get by if everyone doesn't have an eagle eye out for it, you could get by with this. But everything you're saying is a flagrant or lie, mild or a lie of omission. It's just lies on lies on lies. I don't know what's true anymore. I'm with Dorit. I don't think Kyle knows what's true anymore. She's lost herself in this world of just justifying everything she does instead of taking any responsibility when she goes left, like every human being does. So now it's just a mess.
And when you lie all the time, whether it's a lie by omission, whether it's a lie as in you're rewriting history, like, well, we're not that close, but PK and I were like brother and sister. It's like, she's not smart enough to like keep that little Patrick Bateman book of fucking lies, next to her bed. She thinks she's super smart and she thinks she's got it all figured out. And so she's falling apart because she can't keep up with the lies right now either. Or she just believes the lies are truth. Either way, I don't want to be her.
No, and I don't blame Kathy for dismissing the whole thing, because Kyle's like, I'm in a fight with Dorit, and she's like, again? And then she goes off on this whole thing, and Kathy's like, well, just don't let it ruin your day.
Yeah.
I just think everyone's so tired of like trying to get in the ring with this, because it's impossible. As my mom says, the easiest story to remember is the truth.
Right.
It's impossible to ask everyone to remember your spin on what's just so obviously not the truth. So I think Kathy, I don't blame her in this moment for just being like, okay, I'm in Italy. Bye. Good luck. You got this on camera. Happy now.
It was so hilarious to try. I mean, okay, again, talk about going to the hardware store for milk. Like, when has Kathy Hilton ever shown us? And I don't believe that she's any way. I think that we're probably seeing like her on her best behavior on the show, but I don't think she's trying to like put on airs that she's like this super evolved, supportive, warm place to land. That's what I'm trying to say. So the fact that Kyle is trying to like trick us out that she's going to call her sister for support, the support Kyle needs right now is out of Kathy's wheelhouse. Like that's like way below her pay grade, above her pay grade, whatever the fucking pay grade analogy thing is. And so Kathy's like, well, don't let it get you down or whatever. Like, it's not even toxic positivity what Kathy's trying to give to her sister. It's like, I think this is what normal people say to people when they're trying to like support someone through something terrible.
I don't even know if
it's the support you deserve right now, Kyle.
Yeah, I feel like Kathy was just trying to get on with her day because she's like, don't let it ruin your day. And Kyle's like, yeah, don't bring your misery to me. And I'm like, oh my God, all you do is spew your misery all over everyone and expect everyone to care. It's time to reciprocate. Dorit's going through a separation. You know exactly how painful that is because your wound is still fresh. Like, what do you mean, don't bring your misery to me? What a gross, hateful thing to say. Can't believe it.
Watch What Happens Live, Kyle, is manifesting in real time in the show now. So
just makes it seem like Dorit's concerns are like boring trivial hysteria, you know?
Hysteria.
And it's just
Yes.
like everything that she's concerned and bothered by is exactly what you were concerned and bothered by last year. And we stopped the world to take care of you. Clearly, it's touching something in me that is unresolved. I'm sure it's all these relationships I've been in, mostly with addicts, where you receive and absorb and support them through their trials. And then when you have one small need, they're like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, totally.
What are you doing? And it's like, wait, what? I've held your hand through like years of things. And now I have one thing. But that's the whole, this is why I go to Al-Anon, because I set up that dynamic. I set up that expectation. Like you have to, anyways.
Oh my God.
Whatever. I'll keep working on it. Where
not perfect
for
yet.
party time. Oh, well, not perfect yet.
Oh, yeah, not perfect yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Candace, the event planner, is there. The flowers, again, are gorgeous. I went and got fresh hydrangeas and peonies after last week's episode. Because I love a hydrangea. There's fluffy robes and slippers. The Manly Handz massage team is setting up. And this was Erika. For most of this episode, I couldn't stand her. But in this moment, I was like, ooh, here's a glimpse of therapy working in her life. So she's been working on empathy, right? So she arrives, she asks Bose, how are you doing? This is just days after surgery. So there we go. There's a little escape from her narcissism. And then she offers to get the door so Bose doesn't have to get up and down with her abdominal surgery still fresh. I thought that was like, if I were her therapist, I would watch this and go like, this scene, stay with this. And then the rest of the episode, I'd have other things to say, and I will. But I just thought that was nice that she was thoughtful enough.
It is.
To
You're
tell
generous.
Bose to sit down and like, I'll get the door. I got this.
Yeah. See, and this is what I love about you is that you see the good in people. And like, I didn't even, well, I mean, it's not that I didn't clock it, but like, I'm so skeptical of Erika.
Well, she proves herself to be a dick for the rest of the episode. So but they say, in these like meditation classes, like celebrate every small victory. And it's like, here's a small victory. Let's have a party.
And I know that that's what I should do. I know in quotations, I should do that.
There's no should.
I just.
Again, this is me trying to, through this show, work on what I'm trying to work on in my own life. Like, I can't stand Erika. And sometimes the way I talk to myself, I can't stand me. And so if I witness in myself a small victory, it's nice to have the practice of being like, hey, look at that. That was great. That was great. The rest of your day, trash. That moment, great. Keep it moving. Like you're on a path here. You're doing okay. So this is not necessarily about Erika that I noticed this. It's just about like starting to put antenna up for like victories on days where it feels like it's just riddled with failure,
I understand that. I still admire that you're able to do that. And no, I'm serious, dude. I'm not blowing smoke. And then Kyle shows up in what we learn is going to be a 22-year-old dress, which I thought that comment when we get there, I have things to say. But Kyle shows up, whatever. Garcelle, J-Till, and Sutton are in the car on the way there. I loved this scene.
This was a Saturday Night Live sketch, and I lived for it.
100%. J-Till speculates that Kyle is sending PK more than Mims. Mims.
And the driver in the front giggles. She's like, hee hee.
It's like the word memes has been around for, I don't know, the first time I heard it was in 2012 because I sat across at Obama. I sat across from Cindy, and Cindy and I became friends, almost like sisters, She was talking about, this meme is so funny. I'm like, what's a meme? She's like, it's a meme. And I looked at her, and she's considerably younger. Like, she could be my daughter, technically. Like, she could be my daughter, okay? And I don't say that dramatically. Like, it's just fucking facts, right? And she was like, it's like a meme. I'm like, I don't know what a meme is. And she's showing me, and I'm like, but that's just like a picture with some words on it. That's it? Like, what makes a meme? And maybe she couldn't really tell me. Maybe I just didn't get it. My point is, my God, I'm so sorry. It takes me there's no straight roads, man. There's no straight roads.
We don't apologize.
My point is that the word meme has been around well over 13 years, possibly longer than that. And it
has not reached the estates of Bel Air, apparently.
Like, Jennifer, it's a meme. Mims. I'm
I love
sorry.
it.
I still think she's an icon regardless of what she's...
I think this makes her iconic. You know why? Because she pronounced mehmes wrong, but she read the situation right. She said, I feel like Kyle was texting him more than just mehmes and downplaying it. And I was like, that's exactly what she was doing.
Yeah.
And this is where we get the first readback of the text. So we flash back. Jennifer Tilly asked what the text said. We flash back to Chuck E. Cheese, which I can't believe is, as I read it, I'm like, that's an insane thing to have written. Flashback to Chuck E. Cheese. And Kyle is reading the text. I know you have a lot of friends, but I am also one. And here if you need me. I've never repeated anything you've shared with me and never would. And I just wrote trash friend.
Mm-hmm.
And Tilly goes, so it's not just memes. She finally corrects herself. And again, the driver giggles and
Totally.
blackout.
Man.
Then
I lost my
we're
place.
back at Bose's and Dorit arrives. And Dorit, everything she said this episode, I would put on a t-shirt. She goes, I don't know how Kyle's feeling today, but I don't give a shit. And I just wrote same.
Same.
Great.
Same.
And she notes that the fact that Kyle showed this text to everyone but her essentially is hypocritical. All this talk about being direct and honest. She goes, lead by example. And I was like, yes. Dorit
It's
is no
time for
longer a
Miss
windbag. She is just full of wisdom. And
Open and honest to live by her credo. Be honest. Be honest.
doesn't apply to her. And then Dorit,
go
go ahead.
No, you.
She comments on Kyle's like plunging neckline and belted dress. I thought this was a fair comment in the moment where she said, is that your comfy wardrobe? Because I would have the same question. Something with a belt and a plunging neckline is not something you can just lounge around in any position. I did not find that shady at all, but I did not love the confessional comment about the dress being from 2004, so obviously well worn. I'm like, some bitch wrote this, and this snarky assholery undercuts your whole point.
Like, listen, you don't get to claim to be a fashionista. You don't get to self-appoint yourself a fashionista and talk about going into your archives to find your perfect outfit for the denims and diamond party and then shit on someone's dress from 2003, which, listen, I had no problem with that dress. I might want to wear that dress if I was going to Palm Springs or Hawaii or whatever. You know, it looked like she was wearing like a flesh-colored like string bikini top underneath it as her bosom foundations. I could be wrong, but that's what it looked like to me. But like, I still have things from 2003. I have my fucking juicy sweatpants from 2003, and I still wear them. And I will never let them go unless they're like completely worn to shreds. New Year's Eve, I busted out a handbag from 2003. I busted out fucking shoes from 2003 not long ago. You don't get to do that, Dorit. That's not okay.
Well,
and also,
and
like, don't sully the progress you've made.
Well, that's
with
the thing.
This petty bullshit.
That sounds like something, just some bitchy snark monster wrote. In the moment, it didn't seem like Dorit was being bitchy. She just was saying what anyone would think, seeing someone, everyone is in loose-fitting pajamas, and Kyle is in a fitted dress with a plunging neckline and a belt. It's a fair question. Is that your comfy outfit? And then to go into the confessional and have her make this comment, it was like, but that wasn't the tone of what you were doing in that moment. So it just felt like gratuitous and stupid. But Erika pipes up to kiss Kyle's ass to say, I think she looks sexy. And it's like, okay. And then, sorry, go ahead.
No, I wanted to ask you about this because Dorit brings this up at like towards the end. Like, why is Erika riding so hard for Kyle? And I was asking myself, like, okay, what in her childhood is triggering this response to take care of Kyle? And is it just the fact that Kyle was there to be supportive of her when she was in her darkest hours to date that we've seen? I mean, who knows what is possible, but like when we were knee deep in Girardi's learning about how the extent of his crimes and how she could be related. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, is it just that she's like, I got to be careful here? I got to be, is she hedging bets or is she being?
It feels like there's been communication off camera. I feel like Kyle called her and said, like, in her manipulative way, presented her case and was like, I'm going to need someone to support me at this party. Like, I don't even
Oh
want
my
to go. I
God,
don't
you're
even want to go.
right.
No, Kyle, you have to come. You're
Oh
an
my
OG.
God.
We need you there. It won't be the same without you. Well, okay, I'll go. But like, I need someone to have my back. Of course I've got your back. I've always got your back. Like, I could just
Yep.
see something being some groundwork laid before we walked into this event, because Erika the whole time is following Kyle out, speaking up for Kyle here and at the end and everywhere. And I'm just like, why? Like, you're not dumb. You know this is bullshit. And then Kyle has another, God, she's so unappealing in this episode. In TV shows and written TV shows, scripted TV shows, they talk about being cautious of making your main character unlikable, which I think is a dated commentary.
Totally.
I think watchable is what we want. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. My point is, Kyle is so unlikable in this episode that I'm like, I guess if this is what the executives are saying when they give that note, I get it. Because she says in her confessional, Dorit has commented on her outfit, and Kyle goes, well, I'm not so bored that every day has to be a fashion show for me.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, again, it just seems, again, like some bitchy asshole wrote this off camera. She delivered it poorly. And all I could think about was that, have you seen that meme of Tim Robinson from I Think You Should Leave going, are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? You sure about that? And that's all I could think when she was like, I'm not so bored that every day has to be a fashion show. I'm like, didn't you have nesting purses? I think you are so bored that you had to bring 3 multiple tens of thousands of dollar bags into an event.
Matryoshka Matryoshka doll, but make it Birkins, right?
So this is just not believable coming off of you.
I
You're
agree.
Just a bitch.
And it's just, oh man, she's not smart enough. She's not smart enough to do this. She's not smart enough to pull it off.
Garcelle
That's
would
the
say
thing.
that part.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So by this time, Jennifer Tilly and Sutton and Garcelle have arrived, and Bose says that she thought it was apropos that while she's healing, why don't they all heal together? And Jennifer Tilly laughs.
But I love it. It's her knowing laugh that like this will somehow devolve into chaos and drama. And like she's like, oh, sweet Bose. Like we're both new, but you really don't get it.
I loved it.
And I did want to note at the top of the scene, so Jennifer Tilly, Sutton, and Garcelle arrive and they sit down. And I don't know why, I'm just like on a Nico bender. Nico enters with cocktails. Garcelle addresses him by name and makes eye contact with him as she thanks him for her cocktail. And I was like, take a lesson, everybody else. Like, acknowledge this young man and the sweetness in his presence and his generous spirit. I really appreciated Garcelle in that moment. And again, she let me down through a lot of the rest of this episode, but those are the moments where I feel like people's true colors really show.
100%.
And I was like, Garcelle, you are a well-meaning, sweet spirit, because you said, thank you, Nico. I love her.
My friend Lee and I, whenever we go out to dinner or go to a coffee shop or wherever someone is going to be attending to us, we've made a joke of it now that we're like ambassadors. What we try to do when we go in is make up for all the other fucking pieces of shit that don't treat baristas or wait staff as people. They're not thanked. They're not like, hi, how are you? How can I help you? Can I have a latte? No. You say, I'm doing well, or I'm having a busy morning, or I'm cold. How are you? You know? It's almost like we go above and beyond, but it's like we so badly want the other person to feel seen and heard and respected and appreciated. And it shouldn't be that we're trying to like make up for, I'm sure there's also some codependency thrown in there too. You know what I mean?
Maybe,
but it's
but that's in like where it airs on the side of good.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to like, oh, look at me, I'm so fucking great. But it's like, I feel like if I have an overabundance of appreciation, like maybe that will make up for the person that can't see through their own fucking like, oh, I got to get my latte. Like it sucks. It sucks when you're like, hi, how are you? Latte. And you're like, wow, okay. What size? How many shots?
Yeah, that was.
Would you like spit in that or no?
That was my breaking point. Butter.
Yeah, dude.
When someone grabbed my arm and just said,
God
butter.
Damn, dude.
I was like,
seriously.
I'm done with this job. No, those last two things you said, respected and appreciated. I never needed to be seen or heard. I just needed to not be treated like a robot slinging
Right.
coffee. I was
Right.
like, this is ridiculous.
So like Leo can say please and thank you to me and Josh, whatever. Like obviously I like that and we practice that at home as a family, but he is very aware that when we go out, we say please and thank you to whoever is helping us.
Well, and as
know?
it should thread through, it should be part of who you are. Like that's what I
Right.
saw in Garcelle in that moment is like, she wasn't trying to do that because she was in a place.
Exactly.
She literally was so relaxed and just said, hey, Nico, thank
Yeah.
you. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's a real one. I
Yeah,
love it.
totally.
Then everyone changes into their robes and they meet in the kitchen to like ogle this like sweet chef. And then we move outside and Garcelle greets the Manly Handz workers like she's at a family reunion.
I
She
loved
literally
it.
hugged every single one of them and
Yep.
I loved it too. And Kyle, again, I'm just in
These
such a bad
hands have
mood
been
about her.
all over this.
I know.
Those hands have been all over this.
But it makes me think she probably hires them as like a set gift, when she's at the helm of these movies
Oh,
she's
that
making.
makes sense.
I bet
Yeah.
she brings them on. I bet it's something like much more altruistic than Kyle's disgusting reduction of it, which is Garcelle's very friendly with the Manly Handz. It looks like she's a regular customer. And blech.
She just has nothing nice to say about anybody. She's defensive and
Yes.
defended. It's ugly. Production, God damn it, production. Come on. Production catches Sutton talking about her neuropathy with her masseuse.
It's fine. But
I
they
thought
also
it was so rude. Like, she can't, dude. Would you make fun of somebody for any other condition? Like, oh, there's Ramona talking about her fucking anxiety or ADHD again.
I mean, Sutton has done this to herself. Please recall on her first date, she showed up in a kitty sweater and said, I can't feel my
Fair.
feet. You know what I
Fair.
mean? She
Fair.
continues
Fair.
to put this on camera.
Fair.
And I do think it's just part of how she engages with people. I think it's part of like the story she tells about herself.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe justice for neuropathy havers. Who am I to say that neuropathy of the feet shouldn't be discussed out in the open? Never mind.
And at
I
least she
learned
was
tonight.
like, maybe this will
Yes.
help. There was a
Yeah.
hopeful element to it. And production also catches Jennifer Tilly telling her masseuse that this is the calm before the storm, the quiet period before the shouting starts. Believe you me, there will
Hilarious.
be shouting. And he was like, oh, come on, don't be like that. Cut to 30 minutes later,
Cut to.
full sobbing, stomping meltdown. 30 minutes. It took 30 minutes.
So Garcelle is settling into becoming relaxed and Dorit approaches. And as we speculated a couple of episodes ago, she begins to tell Garcelle, listen, my reaction to you the other night at the Viper Room was not about you at all. And Garcelle lovingly, generously, empathetically agrees right away that she understands, which was my gut feeling at the Viper Room too. Like, I think she knew that in her heart of hearts. Dorit just kind of opens herself up to Garcelle and says, I feel lost. And Garcelle, which I appreciated, I don't think that Dorit was saying it to get sympathy. It felt like she was just like laying it out. And I think she knows that Garcelle is someone who's capable of, their relationship has been strained. Dorit has made egregious, painful mistakes that I believe she needs to make concerted efforts to repair. And I think that Garcelle groks that as well. But I think that Dorit knows that, like, Garcelle she is a safe person. She is a safe person for me. Garcelle says that she's been there and I'm here for you, especially considering how all of this can affect our children, And I think that they had a lovely, authentic conversation. And I don't think that I could have written it better myself. And Dorit apologizes. It feels sincere. And Garcelle says she'll remain cautiously optimistic. And like, what else can we expect from her but that?
Yeah, I think I just didn't understand when Dorit said, I'm lost. And it felt to me, I didn't understand what Garcelle said. It felt like sort of half-assed compassion when she was like, well, if there's any advice I can give is it takes two. And I was like, what? I didn't understand that at all.
I think
Just
she was
something went over
probably
my head.
talking in regards to PK. It takes two, and you're the only one dealing right now. Like PK has noped out. I don't know. I'll have
I
to.
don't know.
I need to
It's
think
not
about that
important,
or
but I'm
rewatch,
with
but
you. I think Garcelle in her closing confessional said she welcomes Dorit 2.0, as do
yeah,
I. So I
yeah.
think
As do I. Yeah, as do I.
it's
And
good.
I said last week, like, listen, Dorit is not good with me. I'm not good with Dorit 100% yet because of the unfinished business that she has with Garcelle.
But isn't
And
that what she was talking
yes,
about
but
here?
that's what I'm saying
Acknowledging
is that
things
it
she's
felt
done and that
like,
she wasn't receptive to
yes,
Garcelle's objections, and
yes,
now she wants to be.
right. Is that
Yeah,
I see that as well. Yes.
progress.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then regression as
Right.
it all begins to melt down with Kyle. So Bose sits down with Kyle and asks Kyle why she would show the text to everyone but her and Dorit.
And by the way, this is like the Sutton is sitting inches away from their conversation. Just put that in your feather for later.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Kyle says, just again, we hear the text again. She goes, I'll tell you what it said. I think, and if I have a good memory, it said, you have a lot of good friends, but I'm also one. I'm here if you need me. You can trust me. She added that part. You know, I've never repeated anything you've said to me. And at some point in that mess, we get a signature Bose. Ooh,
Oh my God, it was amazing.
she's so great. And then Sutton sidles up and only heard the last part of what Kyle is relaying and saying, Kyle missed telling part of it. Kyle skipped part of it. And Kyle was like, no, I did say that. And Bose was like, yes, she did say that. And so in the one moment in this episode where I can defend Kyle, that was annoying. But that was the most minor of misunderstandings and miscommunications. And it sent Kyle spinning into this insane display where she's like, this is really getting dumb. This is dumb. And then Bose in a confessional says what we're all thinking. In my opinion, when it comes to a conversation that Kyle is having with PK, Dorit needs to know. Tell Dorit. And Bose implores Kyle to share the text with those who have not been privy yet, which is just Bose and Dorit. And then Kyle in this disgusting confessional says, I don't know why Bose is taking it upon herself to get me to share my text. She doesn't know the history with Dorit. She doesn't know my friendship with PK. And I was just like, she doesn't need to. If the text is so innocuous, share it with the woman at the center of the moment. Share it with Dorit. You shouldn't have ever shown it to a single other soul before or at all.
Also, like, don't
Tell Dorit.
insult my intelligence, Bose's intelligence, your intelligence, like all of our intelligence. Like, don't insult it, Kyle. She's high on her own supply of bullshit. And she
trying
thinks
to villainize Bose is a bad choice.
she's smarter than you, Kyle, by
By
like
miles.
leaps and bounds,
Yeah.
man. You can't win intellectually, nor should you.
And
You are wrong, categorically.
Yeah, she used the words inappropriate and insulting to describe Bose's simple, straightforward request.
Completely
Inappropriate and
nothing
insulting.
underneath it, right?
Oof. I
Maybe-
wouldn't recover from that. If I was
No.
Bose, I would be like, you're dead to me forever. Bye.
And also, like, I have never hung out with you and Dorit. I think I know about your relationship, and I think we all saw it. I think we've all seen it this whole time.
But it doesn't matter. None of it even,
No,
all of
I
the stuff
agree.
Kyle's bringing up is irrelevant. You have a text exchange with this woman's newly separated husband. She is concerned about what it says. You've shared it with everyone else. Share it with her. Like
Right.
it doesn't, the history of any of this shit, it's all just like, it's just noise.
I think all I was trying to say is that Bose can see through bullshit, as can a lot of people that aren't even as smart as Bose. And so for Kyle to say, you don't even know my friendship with Dorit, it's like, you're not that deep, bitch. Like, we don't need to be there for the last 10 years to know what's going on.
You don't know your friendship with Dorit. You showed
Right.
us that you guys were besties, and then you went on Amazon Live and said you're only strangers. So I don't,
Right?
You don't know what you're.
And maybe
You don't
Bose
know
has
it.
watched the show. Maybe she's watched it and she's seen the bullshit. She
Or
probably
like
didn't
you
have
said,
time.
she just senses it. Like
Yeah.
you can just tell.
Yeah.
And again, people who weren't close aren't this triggered by one another.
Yep.
If Kyle and Dorit, only people who were once dear to me can get me that riled up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I don't buy that there's, I think Bose is either familiar with it from prior seasons or she's just reading the room right because it's
Yeah.
real obvious.
Yeah.
And then Sutton reminds Kyle that Kyle pulled out her phone of her own volition at Chuck E. Cheese. and shared the text then, so why not do it now? And then again, Erika jumps to Kyle's defense, saying she's entitled to privacy. Like, unless there's a warrant, we shouldn't be asking anyone to get their phone. I was like, oh my God. This angle is also real dumb. Your legal woes aren't over yet. Stop.
Yeah.
Bringing like the court system into this. It's a bad look.
Honestly. Egregious, man.
And Erika just says Kyle hasn't done anything wrong by communicating with a friend. It's like, it's not a friend. That's not a friend. It's her best friend's recent ass ex-husband.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Don't. Everyone, just stop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nobody's making this into more than what it really is. It's not a huge deal, but it's enough of a deal to just read the text and get on with it.
She says that Dorit and Kyle have to have the conversation, and the others need to stop speculating and filling in the blanks. What blanks are there to be filled in?
None.
There are no blanks. The
And also,
text speaks for itself.
And no one's saying that it was like salacious or they were like exchanging nudes or it's getting sexual. They're just saying it's inappropriate to be in contact discussing Dorit at this moment in time. And to pretend like that's not what was happening is also just horrific insanity. So Kyle steps away and Erika follows. And Kyle says, I just can't do this anymore. I really can't. And Erika's soothing her, saying, you did nothing wrong. And then, Dorit says, why are they having a conversation about this text about me without me? And Erika claims Kyle doesn't owe anyone an explanation. She does add, except for Dorit. And I was like, okay, so at least there's some sanity in the mix. And then Kyle loses her mind and says she doesn't owe Dorit anything, which is gross. And then she decides she's leaving after she reads the text to the group, which is just stupid drama. And then she continues, to Dorit. She's like, I love you and PK and your kids, and you know that. I know that you know that. Oh, that was it. That was the one moment where I thought she was being honest. I do think she loves Dorit, PK, and their kids. And I do believe she believes that Dorit knows that. I just don't think Kyle knows how to act in a way that supports how she feels.
I don't believe
she's not doing. You don't think she loves?
No.
I thought
no.
Okay.
No,
I bought that one line. That was it. The one line of the episode.
I think that right now she is in self-preservation mode times 10.
Mm.
While I don't think she's smart and I don't think she's cunning, I do think that she's like saying what she thinks people want to hear or what is going to be something that will make her seem less dangerous to Dorit.
To me, it felt like the beginning of what should have ended in a different way. If she had said, I love you and PK and your kids, and you know that. I know you know that. I fucked up so bad, and I'm so embarrassed. That's what I was hoping.
But this is like moments later after she tells Erika, I did nothing wrong.
Right.
I don't owe her anything.
No,
I did
right.
nothing wrong. She doesn't even seem to be... There hasn't been anything this entire season like, man, I miss my friend. We used to go get coffee and go hike,
No, the opposite.
Fryman or whatever. It's like, she's just like happy to be done with her. It's like all of her focus is on PK for whatever fucking reason that is, other than like maybe it's just misogyny. Or maybe it's a way to like, suck up to Mo because they're so close now, theoretically.
I think it's a way to hurt Dorit.
Yeah, exactly. Like how gross
like
is that?
Childish.
So she doesn't love Dorit. She doesn't love Dorit. She loves PK, maybe. Maybe she loves the idea of loving Dorit, but she doesn't love Dorit. She doesn't care about those kids, or she would not be such a see you next Tuesday right now.
I don't know. I feel like she does love Dorit, and it's that whole thing of like the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. If she didn't love Dorit, she'd be like, fuck off, Dorit. I don't care. Let's have a massage. But this level of insanity is like, I think you're just trying to hurt Dorit by being in touch with PK. She goes so hard for PK as this goes on, knowing Dorit's going to see all of it. She's just rotten. Something is rotting in her heart, and it is sad.
God. I have a headache. I have a headache from
Kyle.
From Kyle. I'm going to say something, and then I'm leaving. And the crying but no tears voice, like, And Dorit's like, just sit down. Kyle's all, no, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I really can't. Like, oh my God. Then shut up and leave.
Then go. Exactly.
Then go.
Then
no
just
one
don't
wants you
say
here,
it.
Richards.
Just forward the text and go away.
Yeah, like, Jesus Christ.
And Kyle notes that the text in question was sent. Kyle says this. It was sent the day they announced their separation. So, of course, she was referring to talking about Dorit behind her back when she said, I will never repeat anything you shared with me. To text that language on the day they announced their separation, you idiot. You just gave your whole self away, you dumbass. But she claims this ridiculous fabrication. I was claiming, she says, I wouldn't share anything with production, but I couldn't say that because we can't. It's like, oh my God. And thank God for Garcelle, who was like, if you meant production, you would have said production. Like, that's not at all what's happening. And Garcelle says, either way, it doesn't look good because obviously that language indicates it was more than just memes and jokes. So that part.
My God, dude. I actually paused the TV when she said that about production. And I said, what the fuck, Kyle? At like the top of my lungs in my house. She does not respect anybody in that room for thinking they're that stupid or she's so terrified that she's going to throw anything at the fucking wall and see if it'll stick.
It's
like,
that
maybe
because
someone will believe this.
Where was this explanation before? Do you know what I mean? It's like if this was the truth, you would have told this part of the truth at Chuck E. Cheese, at every chance you've had in between. You would have gone directly to Dorit at the Viper Room and said, I understand how you misconstrued that. She's so out of pocket. It's insane. She reads the text again and she reads the part where she says, keep sending memes and I won't forget to send the laughing emojis. And then she finishes this by saying, because he gets mad if you don't respond. And then a few minutes later, we're sitting with Dorit, and Kyle's like, well, I can't imagine PK getting mad. I've never seen that side of him. Never, ever, ever in my life. Excuse me, let's rewind 15 seconds where you said, I won't forget to send the laughing emojis because he gets mad if I don't send an emoji. Can you imagine the level of rage when you have a conversation about something that actually matters, Kyle? So you can, she's just so dumb and it's making me feel insane.
Here's what she'd tell you, Margie, if she heard you saying that.
Okay.
She actually, obviously I didn't mean like he would get, he was getting mad. Like I'm saying he would get like joke mad and she would roll her eyes at you for thinking that, even though it's her words. She's so fucking full of shit.
And then she storms out whining as she goes. All the way out the door.
I'm done.
And Bose calls it and just says, the louder Kyle protests, the more I know she's wrong.
Right.
It's like, yeah, dude, you're giving yourself away, Kyle. And again, I love Dorit. Dorit starts to follow Kyle out. And Erika, just, I don't know what her headspace is, follows Dorit saying, she's not going to listen to you. She's not going to listen to you. And Dorit so calmly just goes, Erika, she will. And I was like, everyone, again, we've had all of these years of Dorit being this like windbag of just endless words. And now that she's sure of who she is and needing to communicate clearly, she does. I just loved Erika, she will. And that shut Erika the fuck down. I was impressed.
God, so annoying.
And then the Manly Handz team all applaud Jennifer Tilly for reading the tea leaves just 30 minutes prior to this meltdown is when she had said there's going to be yelling.
So Dorit follows her out. Kyle's in full victim code red. She's just making Dorit's pain about her. She's feeling so sorry for herself. I'm just grossed out and embarrassed. But so she says to, because all the women end up filing out to the front porch to, watch the train wreck. I get it. This is disgusting. Every day to be made to feel like this. Are you kidding me? And Dorit is actually comforting her of all the things. And Kyle says, look at us at our age talking about this stupidity. Excuse me? No, this is just deflect. She's blaming her coworkers for making this drama. They all want to talk about this text. They're focusing on it. They're dumb. all of this is so that she doesn't have to look at herself at our age. How gross. How gross is this? Like, she has the audacity to tell the women, like, everybody honestly should feel ashamed of themselves. Like,
Starting with you, Kyle.
she's telling on herself.
Yes,
This is a
agreed.
self-induced breakdown caused by guilt and shame. And listen, guilt and shame can be really healthy human responses that can teach you a lot about what behavior feels good and what doesn't, like in an honest way. Healthy shame is good. Like, if I do something and it's like, ooh, I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it, and it backfires, I feel shame about it, that's a good thing. When it turns bad is when I stay in the shame and it starts turning into self-hatred and self-flagellation and all of that stuff. There's healthy shame. I don't need to, you know what I'm saying? Am I making
Yeah.
sense? I think the word shame gets a lot of bad rep. Bad rep? It gets bad.
a bad rap.
It gets bad rap, right. And it doesn't necessarily mean to. It's like when you take it over the top, then yes. But like if it's in response to some behavior you've done that's inappropriate and you feel bad, that's good.
That's
a good thing.
But I do think it requires, at least for me, this is, 12-step shit of like, if I feel an internalized shame, if I don't share what I've done with someone else, then it just becomes a secret and it becomes mine and it becomes a hated part of myself that festers.
Yeah.
So I do agree with healthy shame, but I also think it needs an expression, a safe place to be like heard and turned over, so it doesn't just become integrated into like, well, this is the bad part of me. That's the bad thing.
Right.
It's like, ugh.
No, I completely agree. It can lead to depression if you never process your shame.
Right. This is where, again, Dorit impresses me. So Kyle's having this meltdown, age shaming everyone, and she knows that will shut this group up immediately because it's everyone's like biggest insecurity. So great job, Kyle. Tells them to be ashamed of themselves. And Dorit gently tells Kyle, let's not talk about it for a second and just take a deep breath. And this is like a grounding exercise from some sort of like self-care textbook. I was so impressed with her. Dorit has every right to be flying off the handle right now, losing her mind, and we would all be Team Dorit. But instead, she's like super present for what's going on in the moment and makes a really gentle choice for everyone involved. I was just really impressed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, I think that she is projecting onto the other women her own insecurities about aging. Because I don't see
Of course.
Garcelle, Sutton, and Jennifer Tilly, or even Erika for that matter, like tripping out about where they are in their stage of life.
It's not that you trip out, but it's a cheap shot that will shut you up.
It was a cheap shot. And
because you're not young. So that's also true. And there's great value in this town and you.
Yeah.
So if you want to shut someone real quick, you just say old, fat. So you know what I mean?
God,
in Beverly Hills, it'll absolutely cut someone. So like she knows what she was doing and she knew her audience and it was disgusting.
She's gross.
She is gross. And I love Jennifer Tilly for, again, just being in meme world where none of this is registering. She's like, well, what triggered that childish tantrum?
That was hilarious. Like, where have you been, ma'am?
I know. But Erika claims that she gets why Kyle is upset.
Whatever.
And then Erika says her marriage is falling apart. Her life is falling apart. Her relationship with the group is falling apart. And I was like, same for Dorit. Why is Kyle unique and special and gets to throw a stomp tantrum at a party? Dorit is literally going through this and her wounds are still bleeding. Kyle's haven't like closed, but like Dorit just got shanked. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and she's handling this really gracefully. So like, really, Erika, you're going to, ugh.
Yeah, again, I just don't, what must be going on in Erika's psychology to make her dick ride so hard for Kyle Richards? Could not be me, man. Garcelle says this screams that she's guilty. Like her, like the extent of her outburst, it screams she's guilty. So Dorit and Kyle go sit on a planter to talk, and
I know,
Kyle starts with her. I know,
just two weird ladies in robes, like weeping and
oh my God,
having a conversation.
I mean, Kyle out there with her like her Birkin and her huge robe. And, the eyeliner she's smeared by herself. They weren't by tears. They were by her hands. Anyway, she says that we were in a good place. Lie. You know me. I would always stick with you. Lie. And Dorit in her confessional says, it's a little late. A girl's girl would do the right thing right away. 100% true. And she's not a girl's girl. She's siding with PK.
I mean, again, I just want to give Dorit her flowers here. So the scene starts with Dorit saying, Kyle, nothing is going to go away just because you walk away from it.
Right.
And I was like,
That's right.
Dorit, the Tao of Dorit. And
Yeah.
then, but I thought, so I must have misheard this. I thought Kyle said, if we were in a good place and you asked me to cut contact with PK, of course I would. So either way, either it's conditional and she said, if we were in a good place, then I would behave. Or even if she did say we were in a good place, then you're just repeating exactly what Dorit asked of you at the Viper Room. She asked you not to communicate with PK anymore. So if it's not conditional, where's the disconnect? You ass?
I think she's saying, in regards to, we were in a good place, why is this text message thing causing such a hubbub with all of us?
But she said, we were in a good place, you asked me to cut contact with PK, of course I would. And that is what Dorit said at the Viper Room. She said, he's unpredictable right now. So if you're in communication with him, that bothers me.
Yeah.
And I'm with Dorit. She shouldn't have to go further and say,
No.
stop talking. It's just so understood by every human being. I was going to say woman, but every human being. Yes.
Right. Who's decent. Right.
And
right.
again, yes, Dorit saying a girl's girl would have done the right thing right away.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah.
We get into this part where Dorit explains that PK yelling at her had gotten so bad that she nicknamed him the monster. And this is where Kyle, after just saying he gets mad when you don't text an emoji, then she goes well, I can't even picture him like that. I can't imagine that. I've never seen that side of him. That can't be real. And I was just like, oh my God. And again, it's this bothers me. I don't know why I'm balking at saying this. So I'll just say it. It's not even that big of a deal. But Kyle's saying something like, I can't even picture him like that. So these are the people I've had who I bring to meet my dad, and they know the history of my dad, and he performs well at a dinner. And they go he's great. And I'm like, and it's that Al-Anon thing of everyone is entitled to the dignity of their own experience. So yes, while that was your experience of my dad at this 145-minute dinner, I allow you that dignity. And can you give me the room to have the dignity of 40 years of history and have that be also true instead of looking at me like, you're crazy. He's wonderful. I'm like, oh my God. So I think I just went there when Kyle did this dismissive bullshit of Dorit's proclaiming what you and I have both experienced, the monster. That is not a unique attribute of someone who's in their cups. And it's abuse and it's awful. And for Kyle to be like, well, I don't see that. I've never seen that. I don't get that. Maybe she's just saying this to paint a terrible picture of PK while he's not here to defend himself. So it's just oh my God.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe she said it because we've been watching the show while Kyle's been on the show with PK. We're just watching it. She's lived it. Even if she got a kick out of him at parties, she knows. She knows that he's unsavory at best.
The way
probably.
he talked to Dorit, remember when they had the therapist come over after the robbery? He was drinking, slamming beers, eating pizza at the doorway instead of answering the door. He was disgusting.
They were non-alcoholic beers. I remember fully Al-Anoning it. Oh.
Wowie.
Yeah.
Well, his
chugging
behavior,
non-alcoholic beer after non-alcoholic beer.
That's healthy.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But anyways, there were indications there that he's an extremely unkind, insensitive person. So for Kyle to be shocked that he could be a monster, I don't buy it.
I was so pissed. I was like, first of all, are you fucking kidding me, Kyle? Because your sister's with Kim. I don't know where Kim is on her sobriety journey, but she's
having troubles.
She's
struggling.
The last thing I read, yes. So you grew up with Kim. You grew up with your fucking mother. You, of all people, should be able to understand what it's like to be under the same roof as someone with substance use disorder who is active in their addiction and all of the mental fuckery that goes on with it. Unless she really believes that once you leave the house, you've left all the other shit behind. And maybe she does, but like,
Either way, it's
I'm offended.
terrible.
I am offended by the fact that she cannot picture in her wildest imagination that PK could be even a quarter of what Dorit is accusing him of.
I'm offended because I think she can picture it. And she's doing this on camera to try and humiliate and diminish Dorit. And it
She's
makes me
repugnant.
feel insane. So Dorit says that she's protected PK for a long time. She says he's not that person to everyone, but he is with me, which is classic alcoholism and behind closed doors abuse. And then Kyle in her confessionals claims she always thought Dorit wore the pants in that relationship. And again, I'm like, are you for real? We've all watched this show. What the fuck are you talking about?
I mean,
He's
that would
a controlling dick, and she was always at his beck and call. Like, what are you talking about?
right. And like maybe she wore the pants in the fact that she ran the household because he couldn't be counted on to do that. Or maybe she was always like riding him hard because as an Al-Anon, you often try to manage the life of the alcoholic so that everything doesn't fall to fucking shit.
And that's what Dorit basically said when she said, I protected
Right.
him for a long time. I guess that's the wearing the pants. But I think, again, Kyle is just doing anything she can because this is where she says, is Dorit taking advantage of this moment to paint a picture when PK's not here to defend himself? I'm just saying, I've never seen that.
My God.
And I'm like, but we all have. So now
Yeah.
you look like an even more terrifying liar. She's pathological. Again, you can't erase history just because you say it's so. But I guess there's evidence to the contrary in the world at large. But I find it really troubling.
And then Kyle says, we're both having our moments. We're both having a hard time. Like, no, this doesn't get to be about you. All last season was about you. Probably the season before that was probably about you too. That's the reason why you didn't want Lisa Vanderpump on the fucking show anymore, because it wasn't about you. I don't know. I stuck that one in for like shits and giggles.
She
but
winds up sticking it in down the
it's
line.
like-
She brings up Lisa Vanderpump. So it's in the ether.
when she said like we're both going through it, it's like, well, but so and so did it too. I took the ball because they took the ball. It's like, well, you're having a hard time. I'm having like no.
And just absolving
No.
herself of responsibility. Like, we're both doing this. We're both doing things we regret. No. In the grand scheme of things, you're doing hateful, harmful things. And Dorit is just having like an emotional experience. And we've never seen her like this before
Yeah.
because she's been a successful Al-Anon until this point. We all hit a breaking point and then you become who you really are. And
Man.
Dorit is revealing herself to be someone really interesting, and Kyle is revealing herself to be someone really awful.
Something really awful. Dorit tells her, and I thought that she did this with so much aplomb and skill that I would have to practice this with my therapist before I said it in real life so that I would make sure that it came out and I didn't sound like a frightened child and or fuck it up wildly with my opinions and not stick it to facts. But what Dorit says is, when you write, I'd never share anything. That doesn't feel right. I had no notes. I think that any decent therapist would really applaud what Dorit said and how she said it, because the way she said it was in a way that it wouldn't make Kyle defensive, unless she already was. But it's like, it was just a very neutral I statement, or not, it wasn't an I statement, but it was as clean as like an I statement. I feel X when you do Y. It's like, when you write, I'd never share anything. That doesn't feel right. It's like, how can you argue with that? Unless you're Kyle.
And she clarifies beautifully, saying, in other words, what you're saying is what he shares with you, you would never share with me. And it's like, exactly. And then Kyle fumfers trying to say that PK never talks about their relationship. And Dorit's like, of course he does. And Kyle says in her confessional, oh my God, I hate her. I'm writing in
so do
all
I.
caps. My notes are just out of control. Kyle in her confessional says, if you know my character and you have a brain, you know that over 10 years, we've exchanged more than just memes and jokes. And I'm like, what you're doing here is being an admitted liar and insulting all of us and being a bitch to Dorit. Like every shot you can take, you're taking. And again, it's like really inelegant and lame. And Dorit then reveals, and oh God, this broke my heart because I've been in this situation too. She reveals that PK and Kyle would commiserate about their issues with Dorit. And PK would share this with Dorit, which is such a controlling, destabilizing asshole move. To be like, you went home from dinner and we all sat around and talked about what is wrong with you. Good night. And that leaves Dorit to, that's done with intention by someone like PK because it has the effect of absolutely knocking you off center and making you feel like you have to please everyone because they all talk about how much they hate you and what's wrong with you. But not in specifics, just in a general way that you're so disappointing and all we did was laugh and talk about you because you suck.
Or like, yeah, you know how I said the other night that you were crazy? I shared with Kyle what you did, and she thinks you're crazy too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's just like pure cruelty. It's pure cruelty because on paper, sure, you could spin it that like, what? I was just telling you that someone else agreed with me about your behavior.
You ass.
But it's complete, it's manipulation and emotional abuse.
I agree.
Yep.
And then Dorit just lays it down again, just so wise in her confessional. She says, I don't know if Kyle got so used to just, dare I say it, lying through her teeth with me that it's second nature. And Dorit then says she doesn't believe Kyle's being honest to herself. And it's become almost like she doesn't really know how to be entirely real. And I just wrote, yes.
Yeah. I wrote that whole quote down, bold, italicized, exclamation points. Like
everything this woman is saying is so measured for the headspace she must be in. For her to be this thoughtful and articulate is mind-blowing to me. I welcome Dorit 2.0 as well. She's really quite a sage. And then in contrast, we see Kyle getting into the car and her little confessional, she says, Dorit has achieved exactly what she wanted. Everyone's talking about this now instead of what she did to me. And in my head, I was like, what? And Kyle answers my question by saying, which was not being a good friend to me.
Oh my God.
She had to pull something out of her hat, didn't she? And I just wrote, boo-hoo, not being a good friend. What are you even talking about? I can't even come up with a specific that would justify that. Oh my God.
Which was her not being a good friend to me. Instead of what she did to me, which was not being a good friend to me. Like, I hope she's just so embarrassed. I hope she realizes what she said and is just like, oh, I'm a fucking dick. Because that was the most, like, can you imagine saying that? I cannot imagine.
She wasn't a good friend to me. And again, in the year when she's separating from her husband, who you're still talking to, like we've talked about here, when someone goes through a trauma, they get a year to be weird because their whole identity is changing. So for Kyle to be holding Dorit's feet to the fire right now is an added level of cruelty that like I can't stomach. I find her so gross.
Rules for thee, but not for me.
100%. That is her.
My divorce with
North
Mauricio.
Star.
Oh my God. I'm the first person to go through this. Oh my God. It's so hard. Oh my God. Dorit, whatever. You're just making me feel
so
bad.
Hard. Like that's the thing is like if she needs a for them session with Dr. Jen. And then Dorit again, after this hugely disappointing conversation with someone who used to be a best friend, she comes back to the group. Erika asks, how'd it go? And Dorit says, she was very emotional, and I would just like to see us have conversations and it not be one little wrong move and it's a big blow up. And again, I just was like, how is she so sane and measured in this moment? Kyle just threw a ridiculous tantrum where she is completely in the wrong. And Dorit is so benevolent in this moment to be like, she was emotional. And I wish we could complete a conversation without someone storming off. And then Erika is like, oh, I think she feels very misunderstood. And this is when Bose is like, why is Erika caping for Kyle when it is Dorit who deserves our support?
Right. And Bose says this is a new environment she's in because of her career, she looks at conflict and tries to resolve it immediately because time is money in the corporate world. And so I look at Dorit and I see her in conflict with you, Sutton, you, Garcelle, and Kyle. And you're the common denominator. Dorit's all, what? But
I love it.
Yeah. And Sutton says, I want to tell Dorit we will always be able to sit down and be okay. And Dorit doesn't really take it seriously. And I felt bad for Sutton because I really did believe Sutton had the best of intentions. Oh my God, I'm in so much denial. Margie, take it away.
You're not.
I'm in denial. I'm in denial.
This was Sutton's script from that trip to Oceanside.
God.
And it's just nothing. There's no there. She's like, we'll always be able to sit down and be okay. What does that mean? You don't say, I'll always make an effort to understand you, even if we misfire. Like, there's just nothing. It's just general bullshit, nothing. It's bachelor talk. I don't get it. And Dorit didn't ignore her. Sutton says, we'll be able to sit down and be okay. And Dorit says, agreed. And then Erika goes, you need to acknowledge what she said. And everyone is like, she did. Like, shut up, Erika. Like, you're just becoming a weird simp.
I'm
Back
so
down.
embarrassed. I have so much healthy shame around the fact that I fell for Sutton's track again. And the fact that I want to be like, look what Sutton did. Like, she really means it. Gulp. She really means it, you guys. She's not going to pull the football again.
If I knew what she was talking about, I would be able to say yes or no, but I don't know what she was talking about. Sit down and be okay. That's what Evelyn, my dog, is doing right now. But I don't know if how that impacts our relationship.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God.
And then God bless Jennifer Tilly, because at every single one of these parties, she's the one to go like, well, this was a lovely party and it's not a success unless someone leaves crying. Like, she's so wonderful. She's just floating outside of it all.
Completely on her own
it.
island. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It just does not faze her, and it's so beautiful.
I don't have anything to say about the Portia gets a car for her 16th birthday scene other than the fact that Kyle says she's hurt. She's going to put on a happy face for her family. Maybe
how brave of you.
Yeah, it's not necessarily healthy, but whatever. And it's bittersweet because her kids are growing up and, her and Mo. And I'm like, just go to fucking therapy, bitch. I don't give a shit.
It's very hard to feel sorry for someone. And also, I'm sorry, but you don't get applause for sucking it up for your daughter's 16th birthday.
Seriously.
I know you're hurt. You're a parent. She's a child. It's her day. You do suck it up. Am I crazy? I'm not a parent, but
Nope.
I would never make my adult friendship business a child's problem on their sweet 16.
No.
So Portia
Kyle
gets a
would,
Porsche,
but no.
and I just wrote, at least she seemed appreciative. Because that's an insane car to give to a 16-year-old.
Yeah, dude. I mean, listen, even if I've told Leo this too, like so many fucking times when we've had hypothetical conversations about what car he wants to drive when he can start learning how to drive.
He loves cars. He would appreciate it.
Right. However, by the time Leo's 16 or whenever he gets his license, I don't care how much money we have. He's not getting a brand new goddamn anything.
Well, it just is like an insane thing to give a 16-year-old who has no experience behind the wheel. Like,
honestly,
part of learning to drive is having accidents, unfortunately. And mine were mostly like backing into the cement poles and parking garage. Like, you're going to bend a bumper at some point. So it just seems insane to give someone a 6-figure car and be like, here, try it out.
Right.
Try it all out on this.
Right.
So we're at Garcelle's beach house and she breaks a shell chandelier, which is fine with me because it didn't seem like a great lighting
I don't know what
fixture,
she thought was
does
going to
it?
happen when she
don't
cut
either.
the bottom one off to shorten it. I'm like, but that was holding the other ones up and then they fall. And I'm like, I don't know what to
It's a
say.
strange choice.
I don't know what to say.
And then Sutton arrives with her dog, Junebug Carter Cash. And I thought it was weird that she didn't tell Garcelle that she was bringing her dog and these two dogs have never met. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm so glad this went well because that could have been a big mess.
Right.
But Kobe is sweet and rambunctious and Junebug is a princess. And Garcelle notes that they are, reflections of their owners in that way. Garcelle talks about Kyle getting riled up every time this business of the text is brought up. And she says the lady doth protest too much. And Sutton, to her credit, did not appreciate Kyle storming out of this party because she thinks it indicates that Kyle is above it. Like you said, what the thing about the rules? Rules
Rules
for
for
thee,
thee,
and
but not for me. Yeah, she's full fucking hip is what she is.
Yeah, that's it. Because Sutton notes that Kyle had condemned Sutton for storming off at Magic Mike. But I did write, in fairness, Sutton did make a big, stupid scene at a really stupid place. But you know, if a rule's a rule, then everyone should have to abide. And Garcelle didn't take kindly to Kyle shaming them, citing the "at our age" comment.
Yep.
And I appreciated Sutton for saying, "I'm not going to bow at the altar of Kyle Richards." And I was like, ooh la la.
Me either,
It's really coming undone for Miss Kyle Richards.
I want a front row seat.
We
Front row seat.
got it. It's
Yeah.
happening. I love it.
Then we have Erika Jane and Dorit at a day spa on Melrose Place for facials. And Dorit says, man, stress takes a toll on the face. Yeah, it does. Sure does. Can confirm. Dorit says in regards to, like with friends like these who needs enemies, like talking about Erika, like, I don't need a lot of friends. I just need the right friends. Again, yes.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Yes.
She's so wise.
Totally.
And
So-
she's here basically to dismiss Erika from that group. She's going to ask questions to gather information to see if she's one of the right friends. And Erika, as this conversation progresses, proves to be a question mark at best.
Right. But then when faced with a very clear, very common sense question, has nowhere to run.
That
She
was a
can't run
straight
under
up-
a platitude or whatever bullshit. But yes, so
It was a straight up lawyer question.
Yep.
We'll get there, but she says if it winds up being true that Kyle's been talking to PK about Dorit and lying about it, would Erika be okay with that? And like, it just could not be laid out more clearly. And to Erika's credit, she said no, because
Yep.
everyone would have to say no.
Yep.
So boom. But yes, she starts by, it pissed Dorit off that Erika was soothing Kyle by saying she did nothing wrong. And Dorit tells Erika she knows what the text says, she knows what the text means, she knows what Kyle is trying to suggest it means, but it is a cop-out to say that it was about production. Erika feigns confusion, and Dorit says, when Kyle said, "I don't repeat what we talk about there, that was very much about me." And Erika goes, "You really think that?" And Dorit says, "I don't believe for a second that you don't believe that." And I was like, whoa, she is just absolutely, everything is a home run.
everything. And it's
It's
all
amazing.
like with this really calm, like legitimately calm behavior. Like she's not like what I would have to be. Like I would have to be like, take a deep breath.
Mhm.
And I would have to really mold myself into the kind of person that doesn't sound like they want to just explode all over you in that moment. Like she did not seem like she was holding back rage or anger or anything. Like she was just really quiet, blunt, honest, clear. And how can you argue with any of that? You can't
I
argue
feel
with
like
that.
Exhaustion plus honesty equals clarity.
Oh my God.
I
you're
think
absolutely
Dorit
right.
is exhausted. She has the truth on her side, and so she can be really clear.
You're right.
She doesn't have the energy to come up with flowery words. It's just like, are you being an asshole? Yes or no?
You're so right. You're so right. Yeah. And then Erika, like, I don't know, like, I guess she's like gunning for a position in our recently, never mind, I don't have to bring politics in it, but I'm just saying the current administration could use one that can, twist stories like Erika can. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. So Erika says, you want me to be truthful, about the text message? It could be innocuous. Okay. Dorit says, she's talking about my husband. And Erika says, well, it's presumed it's about you, but you don't have proof. Are you kidding?
She goes off on this whole, like, what would or would not stand in a court of law. But I would say there's more than enough circumstantial evidence for an indictment of Kyle
Yeah.
on this one.
Dude.
Dorit says she's talking to my husband, and I would just add, on the day they separated,
Yeah.
the day their separation was announced. You don't think that's about Dorit? You think it's about production? Are you out of your fucking mind? And I love Dorit for saying, when it comes to Kyle, I don't think you call it like you see it. And she says, Dorit continues in her confessional that she thinks Erika's scared of Kyle. She basically says it felt like shit to hear Erika repeat to Kyle that she did nothing wrong. And she says to Erika, you're not sure of that, are you? That she didn't do anything wrong. And Erika goes, I don't know. And then she gets all dramatic and she's like, I think I have to step away from both of these friendships.
I can't stand it when people resort to that kind of tactic.
And
to
she
like,
says, I can't choose sides. And Dorit's like, I'm not asking you to choose sides. And then she says, if it winds up being true, would you be okay with that? And Erika says, no. And
end
I just wrote,
scene.
yes, Dorit, go
Yep.
Dorit, team
Yep.
Dorit.
Yep. Totally. Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Exquisite. This woman's
100%.
performance in this episode was just,
It was
like you
commendable.
said, no notes.
No notes. Yes.
So good.
I watched, okay. I know we're not talking about The Real Housewives of New York, and that all season no one's wanted to talk about The Real Housewives of New York. I will just say that on the finale last night, y'all need to watch The Real Housewives of New York. And even if it's just the finale or the last 3 episodes, it made up for the entire season of bullshit. Possibly for the entire first season of bullshit.
I watched the last 30 minutes per your recommendation, and I haven't watched anything since, I mean, I don't even know since when. And it was riveting and heartbreaking and so raw. And
Raw.
It's what reality TV used to be, you know?
I said the same thing when I was watching it.
All the surveillance cameras, because so much
Yes.
happens after cameras went down, and you hear Uba vomiting and crying and wailing, and
Yeah.
you see Brynn all relaxed the morning after with production, just being like a real weird,
Oh my
weird
God.
move after she
Oh
caused
my
such a fucking
God.
ruckus by lying. Basically, again, another liar. But this is far more egregious. Like, I can't even. There's nothing redemptive about it. It's terrible. So, anyways,
So watch what happens live last night. This is coming
did not
off
see that.
after an explosive Roni finale and an explosive Beverly Hills episode. Jenna Lyons and Bose were the guests, and Dorit was there to support Bose. Dressel and Raquel were there to support Jenna. It was a really great episode. I highly recommend going back and watching that too, because Jenna speaks a lot of truths and Bose does as well. Not to mention the fact that, it's Bose's first time on and Andy's like asking her a bunch of questions in one of the games. He's asking her rapid fire questions. And one of them is like, who is the fashionista of the group? And she says, Jennifer Tilly. Jennifer Tilly, for all of her faults, for whatever you think of her, she has her own style. Like it is unequivocally J. Till style. Like it's no one else's. And so I really loved that Bose was so honest, even though her friend was sitting right there in the front. But maybe she doesn't know that Dorit has this whole history of being the fashionista of the group. You know what I mean? And even if she did, I liked that she was just true to herself.
And maybe Dorit was before Jennifer Tilly, but it's undeniable that Jennifer Tilly this season has brought, and she, her whole, little monologue about like, don't ask me what to wear to a party because I have great clothes and great jewelry and I'm going to pull out the best. So I will always be overdressed and do not go by what I wear.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
So she always is like, she always looks like amazing and in total, like one of a kind things I've never seen.
I know. I love
it
so
runway,
much.
on a rack, nowhere. It's
stuff
just
from
like
2003, I bet, Dorit.
Well, that's vintage now.
Yes, it is.
Yikes. What else did you watch?
Let's see. I watched The Traitors. It's so good. Alan Cummings is so good. And it's
the best.
It's so good. The one thing that takes me out is that the makeup artist has not blended out any of anyone's powders well enough. And it really shows up on certain skin tones. And I'm like, ooh, there is a learning opportunity in there. Blend, and get this lighting better. Anyway, it's just someone.
Do you think they have glam, or do you think?
Oh no, I think they definitely have glam.
Oh really?
Because I definitely think they have glam for sure. And I think that like it's just someone's not blending out the powder as much as they should, or I don't know. Just my 2 cents. Potomac, excellent episode of Potomac. I watched Salt Lake from last week, but right now. We are actually recording while the episode is airing. Is this the season finale tonight, too, of their show? Or is it not?
I don't know.
I don't remember either, but my God, Salt Lake is also just like, damn, dude. Lisa and Kyle can go just like get in a little boat together and just have a little circle jerk off about what victims they are and how they never do shit wrong.
Don't say circle jerk.
Sorry. Oh yeah, why?
Because that's what Lisa's husband was
Oh my
accused of
God,
doing or
that's
something.
right.
I don't know.
That's what she
Right?
accused Angie's husband of doing.
Oh,
but
Angie's
it was
husband,
just a
sorry.
joke.
Oh,
Just
God.
a joke is like one of Kyle and Lisa Barlow's favorite things to say. Barlow sucks. Barlow
Man,
sucks.
again, like all of these like extreme falls from grace, like everybody who
I
in their
know.
first seasons, we were like, they're the best. All of a
I
sudden
know.
it's like, oh my God, Bryn and Lisa Barlow, all of these people, terrible.
And then some below deck sailing yacht. Some
Mm.
old seasons of that. We're still catching up. Friend, what did you watch?
I watched, speaking of below deck sailing out, the current episode of it's a great, again, it's the same every season and somehow compelling every season. I love it. And then I'm really enjoying Southern hospitality and Southern charm. It's what I love about reality TV in that these are communities I would never be invited to be a part of. I don't have enough money. I don't have colonial roots in this country. Like there's, so I would never get to look at how these people behave and what they do without these shows. So it's fascinating. Or
Totally.
that's Southern charm.
Yes,
Southern
yes.
hospitality is just Vanderpump Rules on vacation. So on location. So I love it. It's great.
Yes.
But there's actually like a really interesting like storyline between two men, a straight man and a gay man, and a confusion about what the dynamics of that friendship relationship are. One of them admits he's in love and like they've had a moment, you know, and there's I don't know, it's like it's really interesting. I guess what I appreciate about those shows is those people are still really exposing what's actually going on. There's so much internal production on the Housewives now, but these shows are still just
yeah.
like on Southern Charm, they're all just too drunk and high to like hide who they really are. And on Southern Hospitality, they're just young and letting it all hang out. So I just think there's like really interesting storytelling going on those shows right now. They're good.
I mean, I thought about you while watching Roni last night and while watching this episode about how like reality TV is a cautionary tale. And it really is. Like Bryn, unprocessed trauma, this is where she's at. Kyle, unprocessed trauma, this is where she's at. I can't speak to anyone on the Southern Charm cast or T-Rav and Catherine Dennis. Like, I ache for their children. I wouldn't recognize their children on the street. And I ache for them to seeing what their piece of shit parents do. Reality.
They're not on. They haven't been on in quite some time.
I just,
they're long
that's,
gone.
yeah. I know they're like first generation Southern Charm or whatever. But
and
like,
they were, I mean,
unceremoniously
this cast is
canned for their behavior, right?
Well, yeah, and they were like egregious in ways that are like, you know,
Criminal.
even by reality TV standards,
Right.
like it's just, yeah.
I just feel so terribly for their children. Anyway.
Fortunately, no one right now, with the exception of like one cast member, has a child. So I do think that takes some of you're right. When there are children involved, there's more sadness in the darkness.
Yeah.
And when there's not,
Yeah.
it's just watching like old adults succumb to their addictions
Oy,
or
oy, oy.
whatever. And what was your antidepressant?
Let's see. I don't know. I tried to think of one earlier, and I feel like the guilt and the probably unhealthy shame I feel of like not being able to like name something immediately. Like I can name things that I'm grateful for, but like as far as like an antidepressant, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
It feels like really egregious that I don't have, that I can't. Like I said, I can say things that I'm grateful for, but like
Yeah.
an
so say
antidepressant.
what are you feeling grateful for?
I mean,
That
I'm very
qualifies.
I'm very grateful for the health and happiness of my family. We're safe, we're warm, we are fed, we're clothed. Yeah, I'm pissed off about health insurance and what a pain in the ass they're being. And I'm also enraged on behalf of people that have it worse with insurance or have no insurance. Like my rage is only fueled by the inherent unfairness of it all. That's not why anyone called about my antidepressant. I don't know, man. Like I had such a gnarly time with the insurance last week that I actually had a fucking insurance nightmare over the weekend. Like I've never had a dream about my health insurance before, but I had one where I saw my prescription behind the counter and I was like, oh, but that's mine. I just need to get that. And like someone's like, okay, I'll be right back. And then they'd never come back, or they'd come and say, oh, well, I can't give that to you right now. Hold on one second. And they just never came back. So it just sat there and I couldn't do anything about it and I couldn't get it. And I was just powerless. And like, that's also not an antidepressant. Pass.
No, it's connected to your family being like healthy and
It's
clothed and fed and
I think
warm.
maybe my antidepressant, for sure, it's my fucking therapist. Again, like, she just is so fucking helpful. I think what it is that, like, I know that I have it great and much easier than so many people. And so I feel like my whole life is an antidepressant when I'm relatively speaking about other things, you know? And I have felt challenged by things. As someone with ADHD, I feel that I often don't know how to function in a way that would help me and my family be better at everything. And I feel like that is like, I'm the COO. Like, I got to do that shit. And it's just, I don't know. I'm sorry. This doesn't make any fucking sense.
It does make sense. It really does. And it does seem like, I mean, just listening to you, like my antidepressant is like related to what you're talking about, is like I see you making great strides on all of these fronts. Like you were undiagnosed forever. Now you're diagnosed.
Yeah.
So now you can like take really clear, specific actions toward a treatment plan that can start. I mean, just even how you approached Christmas this year, like repacking decorations in a way to try to do it different next year.
Yes.
That's literally all that's in your power, and you did it, and that's amazing. Like, I think it's honest to like not always have one like locked and loaded. Like, here's what's great. It's like, that's also not realistic. We've been doing this for like 80 some odd episodes. Like,
I know.
It's not going to be every week, like front of mind, no problem. Here's what I got. So,
and it's like, I had like this great weekend and, you know, long weekend with my family. I think that the events that started at the beginning of this week, I think I was in denial for a long time. It's like, logically, I knew what was going to happen, but I wasn't like feeling it in my body. I could still have some reprieve from it. Like, it felt abstract, even though we'd already been through it in the past.
No, it's worse. I mean, I didn't even watch any of the coverage. I just saw some photographs and headlines that were chilling.
It's been hours, and it's worse than we could possibly ever suspect. And it's been hours. It's been hours. It's been mere hours. I think that has a lot to do with the fact that I can't find something right now, because I have that like waiting for the other shoe to drop feeling times 10 right now, you know? But yes, I'm eternally grateful for the health and happiness of my family and my friends. I think I was like not thinking that would be good enough, because those are just things that are on my gratitude list. But the fact that I can find a gratitude list at all is like something to be happy about, which is an antidepressant. So there we go. Yeah.
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 In terms of like quelling some of those terrors, like one of the headlines I saw is we're on the heels of literally catastrophic fires out here caused by climate change. Obviously, we exited the Paris Accord, but just it's a document that was signed. Great. Is an environmental lawyer, and she works with these big companies. I won't name names because I'm not sure they're public about this yet, but they're not stupid. If there are no people and no earth, they can't be rich, and they love being rich. So behind the scenes, they are working on transitioning to natural energy, because in order to sustain wealth and the lifestyle they love, there has to be a planet to do it on and people who aren't fried or frozen to pay for their services. So behind the scenes, they can do all this performative bullshit they want in Washington, but the people who run the companies aren't in Washington. They're in reality, and they saw the earth burn, and they're like, working on, she does contract law with these places, and they also have PR teams in place to start transitioning public thought about this shit. So all of this pomp and circumstance is like, yes, we pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord, but the people who make the decisions as to exactly, the government has given them permission to make horrible choices, but they like money more than they like that permission. And so they're going to make choices that keep their money coming. So there's reasons to be hopeful.
Are these companies that I would know them by their names?
Yes.
And
I can tell you them off air. I just don't want to outpace
Of course not.
Problem.
I don't even need to know as long as it's, so these are companies that I would know their names.
Yes.
Are these companies that I would be surprised to hear what's going on behind the scenes?
Their public rhetoric would indicate they are in alliance with Washington.
Fuck
now.
Man. Antidepressant just shot into my veins. Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Okay. All right.
And again, it's not motivated by anything benevolent. It's all money, but I don't care.
I don't care
They
either.
are willing to make changes that will keep people alive enough and employed enough to buy their products and services. So there we go.
This just made me feel palpable fucking relief, Margaret.
That's how I felt when told me, because I was like, give me a reason to not go catastrophize right now. And she's like, oh, my job, the thing I do on a daily basis that I work. She works lots of hours. She's a very hard worker. But that's how hard these companies are working. They keep working nights and weekends because they're trying to fucking figure this out so that we can save our planet.
All right. Okay, good. Because I was like, oh my God.
I mean, sadly, we've passed the inflection point. But what they're working on is ways to manage what is our environment now. This is what's going to happen. And so new homes should all be built with generators because everyone's going to lose power because the winds are crazy. And, they're preparing, but they can make money off of that, know, and they love money. Hard at work on it. No pressure.
God bless. Okay.
She's got it.
Good.
And then my antidepressants, one of them is David Lynch passed away this week. And I didn't know anything about his meditation practice. And obviously, I'm a fan of his art, but I love that the primary remembrances I've seen of him thus far are about his meditation and him being interviewed and talking honestly about what he was like before, how skeptical he was entering the practice, and how it changed him for the better and opened up a life that he didn't think was possible if he sat still 40 minutes a day. So, but I'm trying. I'm inspired to live a little more lynchy, or at least give it a try. But what a legacy! What a cool ass legacy! And then the other antidepressant is more superficial, but not. We had a steak mates dinner last night at Chateau Marmont, and I've never been there before, and I'm so intimidated by that place because it's just all fancy people, and it was. But it was beautiful. The patio was beautiful. The food was excellent. And this group, we're so close, and we just immediately start talking about real stuff the same way we do on this podcast. And I got to share about Al-Anon with someone in the group who's going through a complicated time with a family member. And it just was really and everybody in the place, we were talking about service staff earlier, the waiter was wonderful and had a sense of humor. And of course was beautiful. I've never seen people who look like this. It looks like casting. It's just stunning. Yeah. Charming and beautiful and lovely and knowledgeable and wonderful. And it was just a really lovely night out. I just really appreciated everything about it. And I'm so glad that I'm in a headspace where I can, because I can also do the thing where I'm sitting there, but I'm worrying about everything else and spinning and spinning and spinning and catastrophizing and overthinking and planning and listing. But last night, for whatever reason, that patio provided a place to drop in, see Taika Waititi in the corner greeting friends. It just was so LA in some ways. Yeah. But it was also so intimate in other ways. It was just a really lovely night. Have you ever been to?
Yeah. I love the chateau.
I've never been.
Yeah.
I get it now. I was like, oh, I see. This is fucking wonderful.
It's beautiful. It's such a special place. Yeah. Renee used to work there. And so I would, long time ago, in her, years and years ago when she was in her 20s. But yeah, so she would take me to dinner there sometime. Yes. It doesn't matter why I've been there. Yes. I've been there. Yes. Yes.
It does matter. And I doubt it's changed at all.
Probably
since
not,
She worked there.
which is
It
part of the
seems
magic, you know?
Yeah, because it's like classic, but not in like a gross, dingy way.
It's
It's
so
like,
LA.
yeah.
It's such like an LA Sunset Strip, old school Sunset Strip though, kind of a feel. And I love it so much.
And it's
Actually,
like terrible placement on a hill. It's just
yeah,
everything about it is like
yeah.
just slightly inconvenient, but so worth it.
Jessel was wearing a Chateau Marmont t-shirt last night on Watch What Happens Live in the audience. Yeah, and I
Oh,
remember thinking like, that's so cute. Like I couldn't see the way like the entire words that were spelled, but it's just the Chateau typeface is so like unique. It's so like distinguishable. I was like, oh my gosh, she's wearing a Chateau Marmont t-shirt, isn't she? So all roads lead to Bravo.
all
You
roads lead to
went,
Bravo.
Jessel's wearing the t-shirt. Yes. Anyway,
I will say one more thing for the Chateau Marmont.
please.
One time, there's a doggy daycare place near me called Chateau Marmot. And I
Yes.
was working late one night and I was going to miss the pickup time at Chateau Marmot. So I called Chateau Marmot, but I obviously Googled the number and I called Chateau Marmont and I was like, I'm not going to be there in time to pick up my dog. And they very kindly gave me the number because I guess it happens all the
I'm
time.
sure.
And they were so sweet and unbothered by it. They were like, oh, you have the wrong number. This is the hotel. Let me give you the number for the doggy daycare. Because people don't have to be nice. LA gets
No.
this reputation of everyone's like bothered and in a hurry and can't stand an inconvenience. But that place is just one concierge service after another. They're just
I
great.
always loved that that place was called the Chateau Marmot. I thought it was like,
So
this is
stupid.
like, I love a good pun.
Me too.
And that was like, so it's like, of course it's Chateau Marmot.
And
Amazing.
it's just like a block of cement in the middle of the city. There's nothing chateau-y about it, but the name is adorable.
Oh my
And they're
God.
nice people. They do a good job. Anyways,
On that note, everyone, thank you. I've done a horrible job of posting on Instagram, and that's another thing. What are we supposed to do about these Meta-owned companies? Like, what are we supposed to do?
I've been since the TikTok ban, I've been off social media, and which I say that as if I've been on it with any regularity really at all. But I don't think it's the worst thing to take a break. It's
I know,
really,
but I mean, like posting our stuff about the
yeah.
podcast. Like,
Oh, right.
I haven't posted like a clip or anything in like so long, and
Yeah.
I know.
I just like for who we are, like that's okay. We'll figure out a rhythm to that when the time is right. It's a volatile time to be like looking at those sites right now, so
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if
You're
people are in the
absolutely
best
right.
mood because again, I briefly went on like Google News and I was like,
Oh,
like
it's
every
not
headline
good.
was terrorizing.
I know.
So I wonder if people are scrolling through, seeing like terrorizing headline, then like great podcast. Like I don't know if the mood is.
Yeah, I know.
It's okay.
I
Is all
know.
I'm saying.
God, it's all gnarly. It's all gnarly,
It's
but
okay. We have
uh,
each other. We'll
yes,
take care of
we
each
do.
other.
You know, it would be great if you enjoyed this podcast, if you want to pass it on to someone that you think would enjoy it as well. Send them the link. We'd really appreciate that. And if you want to reach us, you can at atherapeuticdose@gmail.com. We are also on Instagram. If you want to go find us, we're at A Therapeutic Dose. If not, Godspeed, man. I get it. We are also on Blue Sky. However, I haven't really figured out a lot about how to post on there, but maybe that's where I'll start posting our clips,
Great.
is on Blue Sky. I nabbed that A Therapeutic Dose handle just in case someone was going to go out there and nab it first.
You never know. Now we have it.
Yes,
I don't
we
even
do.
have Blue Sky. I got to get on there. I don't know what's going
It's
on.
the kinder, gentler, more humane, habitable social media platform. So
I got to check it out.
yeah.
I'm just the worst at social media. It's hilarious.
I
am the meme of social media.
You're the meme of social
I just
media.
don't know what the hell.
I know.
I can't get consistent. There's some weird block there.
Yeah, I haven't been on Instagram in a hot minute, and it's not feeling terrible. I'll tell you that. It's not feeling
good.
terrible. Anyway, everyone, I don't know, drink your water. I'm drinking my water. Take off your makeup tonight, or don't. Just get sleep, or don't. I don't know. Just whatever you do, do it with love and compassion. If you want to judge Kyle, just do it with compassion. There's your loophole. There's your loophole. And I mean compassion for someone else, not even Kyle.
Listen,
From Margisol, I am not with her.
I love
I am
love
not
a
with her.
compassion. There's nothing wrong with a compassion loophole. If you're going to find a loophole, one that involves compassion for yourself or someone else is great.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I fully co-sign that. Well, everybody, take very good care of yourselves, and we will talk next week.
We will talk next week. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Ramona and Margie are obviously not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.